A single bark stopped the entire airport. At first, people thought it was just noise, a dog being dramatic. But then came the second bark, sharper, louder, followed by a third that made security agents drop their coffee and reach for their radios. The dog wasn't barking at a suitcase, not at an unattended bag, not at a grown man acting suspicious. No, he was barking at a child's backpack, a pink one with a unicorn. And what they found inside made every agent in Terminal B go dead silent. Now, before we reveal the full story, first hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. Now, let's dive in. It started with bark, not the playful yap of a pet, but a deep, deliberate sound that sliced through Terminal B like a knife. The kind that makes the hairs on your neck stand up. People glanced up from their phones. A businessman chuckled nervously before turning to his laptop. But then it came again, louder this time, more urgent. Each bark more insistent than the last, building like thunder before a storm. This wasn't just a dog making noise. This was a warning. Officer Maya Ortiz felt her body tense before her mind processed what was happening. 3 years with Rex had taught her to trust that sound. Her hand moved toward her holster as her eyes followed Rex's focus to a little girl with a pink unicorn backpack, standing frozen beside a man who gripped her wrist too tightly. Rex barked again, the sound bouncing off the polished floors. People started backing away. "What's wrong with that dog?" someone muttered. Maya knew. Rex was a 4-year-old Belgian Malinois with a nose sharper than most detection equipment, the best in the department. His alerts didn't come with maybe. "It's just a kid," an older man called out. "Control your animal, officer." But that third bark, short, low, followed by a rumbling growl that vibrated through Rex's frame, was unmistakable. His paws planted like concrete, body rigid with certainty. Something was very wrong. "Clear the area now," Maya said, her tone cutting to the terminal buzz like a command from God. People scattered. A TSA agent reached for the red emergency phone. The girl, maybe 9, maybe 10, stood motionless. She didn't cry or speak, just trembled slightly under an oversized hoodie. The man beside her, mid-40s, graying temples, wire-rimmed glasses, tightened his grip when he spotted Maya. He smiled, all teeth, no warmth. "She's scared of dogs," he offered smoothly. "That's all. We'll just be on our way." Rex lunged forward, barking with ferocity that made even Maya flinch. "Sir, I need you both step aside," Maya said, keeping her voice professional. The man's fingers dug into the girl's wrist. "We're catching a flight." I said, "Step aside." 3 words, no debate. Something in Maya's voice, not volume, not anger, but certainty, made the man hesitate. That split second was all Rex needed. He got his nose close to the backpack and took a deep inhalation. What he detected made him let out a single, unrelenting bark that sent TSA agents scrambling for their sidearms. Someone screamed. A coffee cup crashed to the floor. The terminal went deathly still. The little girl finally looked up right at Maya. Her lips didn't move, but her eyes spoke volumes. "Help me." "So what happened next?" "First, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. Now let's get into it." 10 minutes earlier, they'd been invisible. The man and girl blended into crowd like urban camouflage. Just another adult guiding a child to control chaos of check-in lines. He held her hand with apparent care, steering her with practiced gentleness. She never pulled away, never spoke, never looked up. The girl's backpack was their only standout feature, baby pink with holographic stars, and a plush unicorn head protruding from the front pocket. But even that wasn't enough to trigger second glances. In airports, colorful children's bags are as common as rolling suitcases and overpriced coffee. To casual observers, he was just a slightly frazzled parent, checking his phone, glancing at departure boards, occasionally adjusting the girl's hoodie. He smiled at her once, holding the expression just long enough to sell it. But anyone truly watching might have noticed her rigid posture, her tense shoulders, how her eyes never met his, and how she never, not once, smiled back. Their boarding passes said Toronto, Gate B17. The names printed in crisp black letters, Daniel Lawrence and Abigail Lawrence, father and daughter. Their passports matched, No flags in the system. But something was off, like a picture hanging slightly crooked, not enough to fix, just enough to notice. At the initial screening point, a young TSA agent named Rena had felt that weird flutter in her stomach, the instinctive discomfort without explanation. The man's ID checked out perfectly. His answers came smooth and practiced, but the girl never looked up, not when asked her name, not when asked if she'd packed her bag. She's shy, the man had explained with a practiced sigh. Flying makes her nervous. And that was that. They were waved through. Now at the secondary checkpoint, where Maya had pulled him aside, the cracks were showing. The man spoke quickly, aiming for casual dismissal. You know how dogs are. They smell snacks and go crazy. She's got candy in there. I told her not to bring so much. Rex doesn't alert on candy, Maya thought. She cut him off. The girl's lips moved just barely, a whisper lost in airport noise. Maya crouched to eye level with the child. Rex sat beside her, eyes fixed on the backpack. What's that, sweetheart? Maya's voice softened. You can tell me. I just want to help. The girl's eyes darted up briefly, then back down, still silent. The man stepped closer. Abby, come on. This officer is doing her job, but we don't want to miss our flight. His smile never reached his eyes. If you're done with us, Maya didn't move. We're going to a private room for further screening. Something shifted in the man's demeanor. His shoulders squared, his jaw tightened, his tone hardened. I'm her father. I don't appreciate the implication. Then you'll want to cooperate, Maya replied steadily. To clear this up quickly. She nodded slightly. 2 officers appeared, flanking the man. Another carefully lifted the backpack from the girl's shoulders. The man's grip on the girl's wrist tightened, knuckles white. The universe will tell someone about to do something desperate. That's when Rex did something unexpected. He didn't bark or snarl. He let out a slow, rumbling growl that vibrated the floor tiles, the canine equivalent of, I dare you to try it. The private screening room felt like a vacuum, soundproofed and sterile, with that distinctive blend of disinfectant and tension in the air. The buzz of the terminal faded away behind heavy security doors, replaced by the soft mechanical hum of air conditioning and the occasional nervous tap of fingers on metal tabletops. No windows, just harsh fluorescent lights that missed nothing and forgave less. Downstairs, Maya was completing her statement when an officer knocked. Officer Ortiz, she's asking for the dog. Rex perked up as if understanding. Maya led him to the family room. Rex didn't bound in excitedly. He padded forward with the same focused intensity he brought to everything, professional to his core. Abby, still in her parents' arms, stepped forward. For the first time, she looked directly at someone without fear. Hi, she said softly, her first word in hours. Rex moved closer, stopping at a respectful distance. Abby knelt and hugged him tight, desperate, thanking a hero she couldn't possibly repay. No one spoke. Some moments need no words. Later, walking the agents to their vehicles, one turned to Maya. We can't release the full story. The public wouldn't understand the implications. I figured, Maya said, watching snowflakes fall outside. But people should know what your dog did today. Maya looked down at Rex, now sniffing a planter, as if he hadn't just saved countless lives. They'll never know, she said quietly. But he will. Rex didn't receive a medal. There was no press conference, no viral news headline, no hero dog segment on the morning shows. There was a closed-door ceremony 3 weeks later, a small room inside a Homeland Security facility just outside the airport perimeter. The officials called it a recognition event, but really it was just a printed certificate and a handshake from a deputy director who clearly wasn't comfortable around large dogs. Rex didn't seem to mind. He sat perfectly still at Maya's side as the certificate was presented, his tail giving just the smallest thump against the floor when someone slipped him a piece of high-grade beef jerky behind the podium. He didn't understand the formal words being spoken, but he recognized the tone, the same steady praise Maya used during training, when he performed exactly as he should. He briefly licked his handler's hand and resumed his watchful silence. Outside, an unmarked SUV waited to take them back to the precinct. In the vehicle, Maya leaned against a window, watching the city scroll past in streaks of neon and sodium vapor. She still couldn't shake the image of that silver case, or the moment Rex had barked and an entire terminal went silent, like someone had hit pause on reality itself. She glanced down at her partner. Rex sat upright on the custom K9 seat, eyes methodically scanning each passing intersection, ears twitching at every siren and horn blast. "Still on duty, huh?" she said, a tired smile tugging at one corner of her mouth. He didn't look at her, but his tail tapped twice against the seat cushion, his subtle acknowledgement that yes, the job was never really done. 5 days later, an envelope arrived at the precinct addressed to K9 Officer Rex. No return address, just Maya's name and the department's mailing information. Inside was a single sheet of notebook paper, the handwriting clearly that of a child. "Dear Officer Dog, I don't remember much about that day. It's all fuzzy, like when you wake up from a bad dream. But I remember you, how you barked and wouldn't stop until someone listened. I didn't know how to ask for help. I thought no one could see me. But you did. Mom says you're a hero and you save people every day. I believe her. Thank you for saving me. Love, Abby. P.S. I drew this picture of you. I made your ears too big, but Mom says that's okay." Maya carefully folded the letter and tucked it inside Rex's equipment locker back at the station. Not because he could read it, but because some things deserve to be kept close. Back on duty, Rex's routine didn't change. He still woke at 0400 hours, still waited impatiently by the door before each shift, still followed Maya with the unwavering loyalty that defined their partnership. He was just as focused, just as disciplined, but there were subtle differences like how, whenever they conducted routine patrols through the airport, even for training exercises, he'd pause just a moment longer when children passed by, especially those with backpacks. It wasn't suspicion, exactly. It was awareness, memory. Maya never discussed the case publicly. She signed the non-disclosure agreements. She nodded when supervisors instructed her. "This stays classified. You understand why." And she did, mostly, but some nights, when the K9 unit was quiet and the other handlers had gone home, she'd sit beside Rex in the kennel bay and talk to him like he understood every word. "None of them will ever know what you did," she told him once, stroking the thick fur along his neck. But that doesn't mean it didn't matter. Rex blinked slowly, then leaned his weight against her side, the dog equivalent of a hug. He wasn't the kind of dog who barked without reason, but that day at the airport, when he did, everything changed. What would you have done if a police dog started barking at a little girl's backpack in the middle of a crowded airport? Would you have trusted the animal's instincts or assumed it was just a training error? Have you ever experienced a moment when an animal sensed something humans completely missed? That sixth sense that our four-legged companions possess has saved countless lives throughout history. The toughest question remains. In a world where threats can come from the most innocent-looking places, how do we balance security with humanity? Should we trust animal instinct over human appearance, even when it means treating a child like a potential threat? Let me know what you think in the comments. I read every single one. If this story touched you even a little, hit that like button so more people can discover these incredible K9 heroes. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss what we share next. And hey, share this video with someone who still thinks dogs are just animals. These incredible partners serve alongside human officers every day, protecting us in ways most people never see. Check out our other amazing K9 stories appearing on your screen right now. And I'll see you tomorrow, same time, with another brand new story that will leave you speechless. Until then, stay safe out there. Instead, the mechanical claws extracted a silver insulated metal case, roughly the size of a hardback novel, sealed shut with industrial-grade latches, and wrapped in multiple layers of duct tape. Its surface was smooth, unmarked, except for a faded biohazard symbol stamped into one corner. The room went silent. Not even breathing broke the stillness. Everyone had seen that trifoliate symbol before, usually in training videos or on warning signs outside labs. But here it was, pulled from a child's backpack in the middle of America's fifth busiest airport. The lead EOD technician finally spoke, his voice muffled behind a protective mask. "This isn't explosive, But that doesn't mean it's harmless. This case is thermally insulated, designed to maintain stable internal temperature. That typically indicates temperature-sensitive materials. Like biologicals, Maya finished for him, the words bitter on her tongue. Rex, still watching through the kennel door, let out a long, low whine, the sound he made when he sensed something beyond his training parameters but knew it was dangerous. Maya's earpiece crackled to life. It was a federal security director for the entire airport complex. FBI's en route, ETA 8 minutes. CDC has been notified. You are to stand down and await formal handover. But something crawled up Maya's spine, an instinct honed through years of frontline security work. The same feeling that had made her trust Rex's alert in the first place. She turned to the EOD technician. Can you open it now or do we wait? Protocol says wait. But the tech hesitated, glancing at the case. We can x-ray it. That'll give us some idea what we're dealing with. 5 minutes later, they stared at the high-resolution scan on the monitor. Inside the case, vials, at least 2 dozen of them, tiny glass containers, each nestled in protective foam cutouts, labeled with markings in multiple alphabets. Some Cyrillic, some possibly Arabic, some using symbolic notation that Maya didn't recognize. The resolution was sharp enough to show handwritten numbers and color coding on each label. No pharmaceutical company logos, no standardized labeling, no batch numbers. The text spoke in a voice just above a whisper. This isn't medication. It's either research-grade biological samples or what? Maya prompted. He just shook his head. A second call came through on Maya's radio. The man, the so-called Daniel Lawrence, had been processed, fingerprinted, and run to the federal database. He wasn't Abby's father. In fact, he wasn't Daniel anyone. His true identity was still being verified, but preliminary matches showed he had a history with false documentation and international travel under multiple fraudulent passports. He'd entered the U.S. under yet another name 6 weeks earlier. The girl's real identity came through moments later. Abigail Quinn, age 9, reported missing from her home in Austin, Texas, 18 days ago, last seen being pulled into a blue SUV after school. The Amber Alert had generated initial leads, but the trail had gone cold within 48 hours. Until now, Maya's knees nearly buckled as the pieces clicked together. She looked back at the unicorn backpack that had started it all. Sparkly, innocent, painfully childish, and hiding what could have been a biological weapon. The question started spiraling through her mind. Was the plan to get the materials onto an international flight? Was Abby ever meant to reach Toronto? Or was she disposable? How many other children like her were walking through airports right now, used as unwitting mules, hidden behind bright colors and stuffed animals? But she forced those thoughts away. Focus on what's in front of you, she reminded herself, one step at a time. The EOD team carefully resealed the case, secured it in a specialized thermal containment unit, and documented the chain of custody. The airport remained under rolling lockdown for another 7 hours. News outlets will report a vague security incident near Gate B, frustrating travelers and generating angry tweets about misconnections. No one would mention the vials or the 9-year-old girl or the dog who'd spotted what every scanner and security agent had missed. Speaking of Rex, he sat quietly in his temporary kennel, eyes still tracking every movement in the room, body still alert despite the hours that had passed. Like he understood that finding the threat was just the beginning, not the end of the job. By the time the FBI's weapons of mass destruction team arrived, the airport had transformed into a military operation. Flights grounded, terminals partially evacuated, media vans clustered at the perimeter, reporters speculating about the major security situation. Behind unmarked doors, officials from multiple agencies moved with quiet urgency. Homeland Security, CDC, and FBI badges clipped the belts. Maya found herself in a makeshift command center that had been an administrative conference room. 2 federal agents sat across from her, dispensing with pleasantries. What you intercepted today wasn't random, the older agent said, sliding over a folder. That child was being used as a courier, a human decoy. Maya's hands tightened beneath the table. She had no idea. You could see it in her eyes. We know, But someone calculated that a young girl wouldn't trigger suspicion. That backpack was designed to pass through every scanner we have except one. The younger agent leaned forward. Your dog. What made him alert? Maya hesitated. Scent primarily. He's trained on multiple chemical signatures. But her fear, too. He picks up on things we can't explain. He detected what millions in equipment miss. That case wasn't just biological. It was weaponized. Weaponized how? The answer came slowly, each word measured. Pathogens, multiple strains, some genetically modified, some related to smallpox, some we haven't identified. Whoever assembled this wasn't doing research. They were preparing for deployment. For what? Maya whispered. The agents exchanged glances but offered no answer. Instead, they produced a photograph showing the detained man exiting a warehouse in Eastern Europe. Below was a list of aliases and a red banner. International bioterror suspect, Tier 1. The name wasn't Daniel Lawrence. Not even close. Do we have a positive match? Maya asked steadily. We do now, the agent confirmed. Your K-9 partner just prevented something that would have made headlines worldwide by ensuring it never happened. Meanwhile, 5 floors up, another scene unfolded. Abigail Quinn's real parents had arrived under protective escort. Her mother, hollow-eyed from weeks of sleepless nights, nearly collapsed when her daughter walked in. Abby stood frozen, blinking as if unsure this was real. Then her mother dropped to her knees and whispered, "It's okay, Peanut. It's really me." That's when Abby broke. She ran with the desperate abandon of a child who thought she might never see home again. Her father wrapped his arms around them both, bodies shaking with silent sobs. And for the first time since Maya had met her, Abby smiled. A real smile. The man, still identifying himself as Daniel Lawrence, sat with calculated casualness, arms crossed loosely, chin slightly raised, eyes tracking every movement like a tennis spectator. The girl, Abby, hunched beside him, shoulders drawn inward as if trying to disappear inside her oversized hoodie. The unicorn backpack sat centered on the metal table between them, its cheerful design now seeming bizarrely out of place, like finding a birthday cake at a funeral. Maya stood across from them, saying nothing at first, just watching. Rex lay at her side, no longer barking, but alert to the point of vibrating, his copper eyes never leaving the backpack. Maya had seen this kind of stillness before, in Rex during training exercises, in Suspect About Confess, in survivors gathering strength to speak. It was the quiet before something broke. I'm going to ask you one more time, she finally said, voice measured as a pharmacist's scale. Did your daughter pack her own bag? The man exhaled through his nose, a controlled release of annoyance. As I've told you 3 times now, she's 9 years old. I supervise her packing. It's a family vacation. This is ridiculous. Where exactly are you staying in Toronto? Why does that matter? A flash of irritation crossed his face. Answer the question, please. Near Niagara Falls, some hotel Marriott, I think. She wanted to see the big waterfall. Kids, you know? He attempted a conspiratorial smile that landed like a dead fish. The girl flinched, almost imperceptibly, but Maya caught it. She shifted focus, kneeling to meet the child's downturned gaze. Hey, Abby, it's okay. You don't have to talk if you don't want to, but you can nod or shake your head. Would that be easier? Did you pack this backpack yourself? Silence stretched between them. The girl blinked twice, slowly and deliberately. Her fingers twisted the hem of her hoodie. Rex huffed softly through his nose. Sir, Maya said, still watching the girl, I'm going to open this bag now. You need a warrant for that. The man's voice had an edge now, like a knife just beginning to show through gift wrap. I have probable cause and federal directive under aviation security protocols. You're welcome to argue that point after I clear this room. He stood abruptly, chair legs screeching against the floor. I want to speak to a supervisor now. Maya stepped forward, placing both palms flat on the table's edge, leaning in just enough to establish presence without aggression. You're looking at one. The man didn't move, but something in his jaw flexed once, twice. His eyes darted to the backpack, then to the exit, calculating distances and odds. That was all Maya needed to see. Sergeant Daly, she called calmly without turning her head. The door opened instantly, revealing a uniformed officer who'd clearly been waiting just outside. Please escort Mr. Lawrence to the observation room. Keep him seated and keep him watched. Daniel didn't resist physically, but his parting words hung in the air like cigarette smoke. You're going to feel really stupid when this turns out to be nothing but candy and coloring books. Maya let the comments slide off her like rain on wax canvas. Once he was gone, she approached the girl again, crouching to eye level. Abby, you're safe now. I promise you that. But I need to know, did someone else put something in your bag? Something you weren't supposed to see? The girl didn't answer with words. She just slowly raised her hand and touched Rex's ear, just a whisper contact, fingertips barely grazing the soft fur. Then she dropped her hand back to her lap. That simple gesture told Maya everything she needed to know. She turned to the backpack and began unpacking with methodical care. Coloring books, a half-empty bag of gummy bears, mismatched socks, a tablet still powered off, a small, well-loved stuffed rabbit with one ear more worn than the other. All the normal detritus of childhood. But when Maya lifted the plush toy, her fingers caught on something beneath the bag's lining, a slight bulge where there shouldn't be one, heavier than fabric had any right to be. She probed gently and felt it, the unmistakable texture of duct tape beneath the pink material. Maya's mouth went dry. She signaled the assisting officer to step back and carefully moved the backpack to a specialized containment tray, waiting in the corner. Rex, who had been watching silently, suddenly barked again, sharp, authoritative, certain. His body shifted forward slightly, muscles bunching under his sleek fur, but Maya raised her hand in the signal that meant stay. He obeyed instantly, though a continuous low growl rumbled in his chest. The duct-taped object was flat, cold to the touch, and shaped like a narrow rectangle, roughly the size of a small hardcover book. Maya didn't remove it. Not yet. Instead, she keyed her radio, speaking in the clear, precise cadence of someone who's practiced emergency protocols 1,000 times. This is Officer Ortiz. We have a suspicious package requiring biohazard protocol. Evacuate all non-essential personnel from the screening floor. Initiate lockdown of gates B through D. The response was immediate and equally controlled. No sirens blared. That would cause panic. But signal lights began flashing above the doorways, a silent alarm that passengers wouldn't recognize, but that sent every agent in the terminal into practice motion. And in that moment, through the observation window, the man made his move. He lunged from his chair in a single fluid motion, shouldering past the officer who'd been standing too far behind him. He reached the hallway door before anyone could react. 3 steps, that's all he got. 2 security officers tackled him with the synchronized precision of dancers who'd rehearsed the same move for years. His forehead hit the tile with an audible crack that would leave a mark for his booking photo. Inside the screening room, the little girl didn't even flinch. She just kept watching Rex. And Rex kept his eyes locked on the backpack. The bomb squad arrived exactly 12 minutes later. Though to Maya, standing silent guard over the backpack, it felt like hours. By then, the screening room had been emptied of all but 3 people. Maya, Rex, now secure in a side kennel but still watching intently, and 2 specialists from the airport's EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal, unit in full protective gear. The little girl, Abby, had been quietly escorted to a child services agent, waiting in a secure lounge upstairs. She still hadn't spoken a single word. The metal table now held only the unicorn backpack, carefully positioned in a reinforced containment tray. A robotic arm, operated remotely from behind a blast shield, delicately cut to the padded lining where Maya had detected the anomaly. What emerged wasn't what anyone had expected. No wires, no detonator, no C4 or timing device.